Hello, my quilty friends. It's Stacy of Stacy Create Stuff, and today we are on our last block of the Haven Quilt Along. Now, while we still have quite a bit to do to finish this quilt top, this is the last block, the Contrary Wife. And this week we have a new type of unit that we haven't done before, and that is the quarter square triangle. Now, we've had plenty of practice with half square triangles, and you should feel pretty confident about doing those. So you are halfway there to making a quarter square triangle. Now, before I get into showing you how this block goes together, I have a little bit of housekeeping first, and that is if you have signed up for the Haven Quilt Along email list, you should be getting an email each week on Tuesday mornings. If you haven't been getting this email and you've signed up, please drop me a line. I will put a link in the description below, and we'll try to get that sorted out. There has been some deliverability issues, and I just want to make sure that if you've signed up, you are actually getting the instructions that you signed up for. Now, it's not too late to sign up for the Haven Quilt Along mailing list. However, if you sign up from this point forward, you will be getting the emails for the blocks, starting with the very first border units, which are the 9 patches and the flying geese. And then you will be getting an email for each of the 6 blocks of the main part of the quilt. Those will come out 1 week at a time. If you signed up prior to today, Tuesday, March 3rd, you will get all of the instructions, including this week's, on time. These videos will be staying up here on YouTube, and you can join this email list even if it is months and years down the line. You'll just get those instructions emailed to you week by week. All right, without further ado, let's put this block together. Block 6. Now, this has quite a number of pieces to it, but it's not going to be hard, I promise. It just takes several steps, and we do have one new technique that we are going to involve. So this block, called Contrary Wife, is a 9-patch, and each of the units is made up of smaller pieces that make the unit. So we are going to have half square triangles, and we are also going to have quarter square triangles. So let's start with those quarter square triangles, because that's a little bit of a new technique, although it starts out like our old friend, the half square triangle. So we're going to need 1 goldenrod, and we are going to pair that with a blue. And then we are also going to pair a blue with teal number 3. So I'm going to set the extras aside. We'll be making a total of 4 blocks, but for 1 block, you just need these 4 squares. So I'm going to go ahead and mark on the back of the teal my lines as if it were just a half square triangle. All right, that'll be paired with the blue, and I'll go ahead and mark on the goldenrod here. Okay, I'm going to take these over to the machine and sew up the half square triangles, and we'll come back and you'll see what's next. All right, I have my pieces. I have 2 that are the teal and blue and 2 that are the goldenrod and blue. I have pressed all the seams towards the blue. Now, if these were half square triangles, at this point we would square them up and trim them down, but they're going to become quarter square. So I'm going to take and nest 2 opposites together and sew as if these were each individual squares. So I'm going to just separate these for a moment so that I can mark on the back of this one. Doesn't really matter which side you mark on, other than you're on the wrong side of the fabric. You may not be able to see that clearly, but I can see it. That's the important thing. All right, now I'm going to nest these so that the blues are opposite each other. And because I have pressed both seam allowances towards the blue, this center seam here should nest. I can feel that it's flat. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and sew it just as if it were a half square triangle, except it's already a half square. And again, sewing on the inside of those pink lines. Go ahead and mark this one really quickly as well, so I can sew both. And same thing, this I will nest. That's what you're most concerned with. Obviously, you want them to be as closely lined up as possible, and they may be off a little bit, and that is fine because we will be trimming them down again in the very end. But most important is that this center seam nests. All right, I have my quarter square triangle units sewn up, and now it is time to trim them. So again, I am using my bias square ruler. You can use a similar ruler. You can also use any ruler, like a regular quilting ruler, as long as it has a 45-degree angle on it. So I am placing what's essentially the 45-degree angle on the seam that's coming across this way. Now, of course, there's another seam going this way, and this is going to be cut down to 4.5 inches. So the center point would be at 2 1/4. So I am aligning my diagonal, and I'm looking for the 2 1/4 mark and making sure, if possible, that that hits the center cross there. And then I'm just double checking that there is at least maybe a little bit, or it comes right to the edge of the 4.5 there. Now that I have trimmed those two sides, I am aligning at the 4.5 inch mark, also along the diagonal. And of course, hopefully by default, that should be at the 2 1/4 mark in the center. And there we have a trimmed quarter square triangle unit. Let's trim the other three, and then we'll see what's next. Right. We have our 4 units, but we're not ready to lay out our block quite yet. We still have some actual half square triangles to make. All right, I am back with my sandpaper board and the white squares and the teal squares, and both of these measure 3 inches. And I am going to be pairing these up, and I will need 4 pairs for a single block. Again, we're making 4 blocks total, but I'm going to go ahead and grab 4 of each so that I can mark them. Set the others aside for later. And just as before, I'm simply marking on, in this case, each of the white squares where I need to sew. And then I'm going to pair that up and make a series of, well, a total of 8 half square triangles in the teal and white. And that's for 1 block. Let's go sew these up. All right, I am back with my half square triangle units, and these need to be trimmed to 2.5 inches. All right, I am back with the components of the contrary wife. So we have a 4.5 inch square in the center, and then we have our quarter square triangle units. And we set those so that the goldenrod is towards the center. That'll put the teal towards the back. And then in these corner sections, we are going to be putting together a mini 4-patch, and that'll become the unit that makes up this larger 9-patch construction. So we're going to have 2 half square triangles with the whites pointing towards the center. We have teal in the outer corner, and this of course is teal 3. And then we have the navy on the inner corner of those 4 patches. So before we can sew the whole block together, we need to sew each of these units, and it's a simple 4-patch. So these two go together, these two go together, that forms the 4-patch. Let's go put those together, and then we'll see how this block lays out. All right, I have my corner components all sewn together, and I just wanted to point out that they are all exactly the same as far as their positioning, and it's just a matter of rotating them into position to finish the actual block. So now we have 9 units sewn together, and it's time to put this 9 patch all together. So these 3 will go together as a row. We'll have 3 rows, and then of course, we'll have a finished block. Here are the 3 rows, and here is the finished block. Let's take it to the design wall and see how it fits in with the rest of the blocks. I have the pieces that are going to be used as is, just as squares. These 2 fabrics become half square triangles, and these 3 fabrics become the quarter square triangles. Here is the painted desert version on the design wall. And there you have it, my friends. You will be making a total of 4 of these blocks, the contrary wife, and they should measure 12.5 inches unfinished. I will be back next week where we are going to start to put together the quilt top, and we're going to talk about different layouts that you can do. So of course you can lay it out as I have it in the visual that goes along with the Quilt Along guide, which, by the way, you can download for free from my website. But that is not the only way that you can arrange these blocks. So come back next week and see all the possibilities. Until then, why not check out this?